Hi everybody, as promised, a little video to help you complete the composite room exercise in Photoshop. Now if you already have this done, please feel free to ignore. This is mainly for the people who've actually only just started quite recently, either today or last week, and they're trying to catch up, or people who just might not naturally be taking to this as quickly as they could. You will get there, I promise you. It just takes some people a little bit of time and then you'll be flying. Don't worry about it. So, the first video I didn't realize stopped recording after 3 minutes, and I'm talking away after half an hour. And yeah, that was fun. So this is second attempt at this. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm in my Photoshop here, so I'm going to start this from scratch. Now I downloaded a few images from Adobe recently. Now, do you see this image here? Quite literally. This image here is the one that I just created in the first video. It's just basically saved a screenshot of it, and here's the original. So I got this far. I had a picture on the background, and I replaced the outside image with a kind of a sunset evening kind of sunscape, and I had a projector up, and I did all sorts of things, and I realized it wasn't recording. Okay, so it's not great. Well, it was recording, but it stopped. So I'm going to open this file. And here we are again. Okay. So a couple of things I want to do with this. The first one is I would prefer myself personally to have a nighttime scene because it means I get to use lights. And there's lights in this already. Now I'll just zoom in on this. Is a very high quality image. You can actually see they're actually really good quality. I can zoom in that far and actually see them. They're recessed lights. They're built into the image. There's only one layer here. So I can light those lights effectively if I create a nighttime scene, but the way to do that is to cut out the glass and put a kind of a cityscape in behind. Now, the complex thing about this one is, up to now we've been doing it with plain white glass, and it's easy. We just cut it out and we adjust the transparency and throw it back in again. But this room actually has a city outside of the glass. Now, it only means one extra step, but I'll show you how we'll do that. Now, the very first thing, I'm going to duplicate the layer. And I've already saved this as Noel Johnson Room Composite Exercise. I'm just going to hit save again. Yes, pardon me. Now, and there we go. Right, okay. Now, so I have my two layers. I'm going to hide that one. Right. So what I want to do is I want to zoom in here and cut out this glass on the left. I go over to my polygon tool. And I am not going to be as careful as I would normally with this. But I've already done it once this evening. So first selection made. If I want to select the other window at the same time, I press shift. You'll see the little icon develops a little plus sign. So I press shift, left click once, let go, and then I just click around. Like so. And I go up. Do it again. Press shift, left click once, click around. And I've got three of them. So I'm going to hit Control and X, Control and V. And that cuts it out and pastes it back in again on its own layer. So I'm going to call this glass left. Okay, just going to adjust the transparency and bring it down. Now it might be hard to get this placed because once you get over onto this, I won't be able to place it properly, to be honest, until I put the background in. And that's okay. So I'm going to slide across the room because the floor is polished to this window over here. I'm going to go back onto my background again, not the one at the back that I hid, but this one here. And I want to cut out these two windows. So I'm going to grab the first one and just click around it like so. Now this one already has a cityscape in it, so I've got to deal with that. I'm going to show you how. It's as easy as the white one, just there's one extra step. Press shift, left click again, go on up, cut it out. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control X. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hit Control V, and as you can see, I can't have those windows, the view in there because it's going to ruin my view of my city. So all I do is this. I'm going to use the magic wand, and on this layer, I'm going to click outside of the glass, so it selects everything but the glass. And then I'm going to go select inverse, so it only selects the glass. And then with the use of the white color picker, I'm going to choose the whitest white I can. And the paint bucket tool, I'm going to fill both of those with plain white. So I'm bleaching out the view through the window, and then I go select it. So that's my extra step, select and deselect, and then I just drag the opacity down, not too much now, I'm going to throw it back in. I won't be able to place them really perfectly until I get a scene in there. So let's do that now. So I go File and Open. Click on my scene. This is another one of those Adobe stock scenes. It's actually really good quality. Going to drag it down. Going to drag it in. And you'll see by strange fluke, it's exactly the same height. So I can put it wherever I want. Now I have to drag it to the back. And you can see I can now see it through. So I'm going to hide the room. You can see I can now see it through the glass. But I'll probably also be able to see that the glass isn't perfectly positioned. So I'm going to move in on this and click on left glass. And you can see it there. I'll just tweak it down using the arrows. Hang on a second. Alright. Yep, now. I think that's it. Okay, now go over to the one on the right. I'm just going to name this one. Hang on a second. Yeah, this one isn't right either. So we go glass right. And just use the arrows just to adjust it. Make sure it's right at the bottom. Could probably make this one. Let me just see. Top one has 18. The left one has 18. This one has 24. Because this has a stronger bit of color in it, I could probably make it a little bit more opaque, but not too much. Okay, now. Okay, so we now have our evening scene coming in through the windows, and based on the light coming in, the room is too bright. Okay, so it's obviously clearly sunset outside, and the room is too bright. So I'm going to set this, label this here as being cityscape, and we're going to call the room. Okay, so everything's labeled at the moment. So I'm going to click on the room. I'm going to go Image, Adjust Brightness and Contrast. Now you don't have to do an evening nighttime room. I like doing them because it means I can actually light them. Oh, isn't that amazing? That's the room as it is, right? Look at the orange color coming in on the wall. Now that's not coming in from the scene I just put in. That's actually there. There's a bit of that there from the one I just took out. But we even have a little, what appears to be a shadow here caused by the frame of the window, which is amazing. Okay, it's going to drag down. Now, I'm just going to click OK and do it again. Image, Adjust Brightness and Contrast. I'm just going to drag it down. Okay, I kind of like that. Okay, that's kind of suitable. The sun is going down. It might not be coming straight into the room. It could be hitting off another building. Who knows? But I kind of look, there's a little bit of light coming in on the wall. Okay, it's not too strong, but I kind of like that. Okay, so a couple of things we want to do here. We've got a nice big wall here, and we want to add, I could put a TV on it, but I'm actually going to put a projector into the room like I did in class, and then I'm going to light the projector and put an image on the wall as if it was being projected. So play around with this, because this is actually a nice thing to do, and there's a few little things you can do to make it look really realistic. So I'm going to open the projector, File and Open. And we're going to use this one. Now, as we remember from class, I have to invert this. So let me just click on the magic wand tool, click on the white, press delete, and then select. And by the way, on the new version of Windows, there's a floating menu that says deselect. I've been using select and deselect for years. That's why I keep on saying it. I know the Windows there, it just popped up this year or thereabouts. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I know it's handier, but I think I have it disabled in this version. Okay, so it's pointing in the wrong direction. It needs to be up on the ceiling. So Edit, Transform, Rotate 180. And as you can see, all the USB connections and the Ethernet ports and all of that kind of stuff are all in there. And there's the infrared. And it's not plugged in. The power socket is obviously it's not plugged in. It's an image. But what I have to do is I have to make sure that all of those little sockets are up out of the way, so it isn't obvious. Now I can't line it center picture. I have to line it center wall. Okay, and it's too bright. Image, Adjust Brightness and Contrast. Don't forget, there's nothing actually lighting that projector. Now let's look at this. So that's my projector. I'm going to double click in and just type in the word projector. And I have to have an image that it's going to be projecting. So I go File and Open. And I actually got this really cool picture here, which was a little bit too square for me. But I'm going to fix that and turn it into a 16:9 or 16:10. Now, very high quality image, but too big. Edit, Transform, Scale. I want to put it onto the wall. Now, it's not really the right size for the wall. It's too square, right? I think. So what I would do in this instance is this. Before I make it any smaller, I'm going to just click on the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to cut that much off the top just by selecting, dragging and deleting. And I'm going to cut that much off the bottom by doing the same thing. And once they're gone, you'd never know they were missing. And now I have a really, really nice widescreen image, supposedly being delivered from the projector. Okay, and that appears to be equidistant based on the pink lines. Cool, so I have that there. Now, so I need to put that, I'm going to call that screen, and I need to put it under the projector. And in between the projector and that screen, there needs to be some light. So we've done this in class, I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to click on my polygon tool, and I'm going to make sure I've got a feather of about 20 or thereabouts, right? You'll get used to this as you do it. And I'm okay clicking on the projector because this layer is underneath the projector, so it won't be seen. And I know my lens is about here, so I'm going to go out, down, over, up, and back. And you'll see it's kind of curved a little bit. Now, so here's the thing. So I'm going to put some light into that room to give the illusion that the projector is actually projecting light onto that wall. But I could just fill it with white. But the problem with filling it with white is it's not going to look realistic because that particular image is made of oranges and yellows and blacks and stuff like that. So the best thing to do, rather than just fill it with a color, and I could fill it with a color no problem, right? I could literally just white select it. I could fill it with the paint bucket, and I could just drag it down. I just click on the screen projector. That's selection. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Screen, room, projector. Sorry. Should have made a new layer. Go layer, new layer. And I'm going to call this one projector light. Pardon me. And it needs to be in between the projector and the screen, which it is. So I could fill that with a color now if I wanted to, and then just bring the opacity down. It's not great. It gives the illusion of light, but it's not very good. Because it's a white light, and clearly not projecting a white light onto that screen. So here's the other thing I can do. Rather than choose paint bucket, I can go on into the gradient tool and double click on it. Now, this is from the last one I did before. Okay, so there's this little problem with the recording software. It just stops randomly every now and again, so that's a little bit disconcerting. So sorry about that. So I was talking about the gradient tool, and with the gradient tool, I just opened this and I showed you that this was the last one that I did. So I really need to show you how to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these, and I'm going to show you exactly how this works. Okay. Now let me just say okay to that. I'm actually going to delete the one that I just did, and I did it while it was recording, and then suddenly it stopped. So what I have is here, I've got my image on the background, and I want to fill that selection that I made with a colored light as opposed to a white light. So it's after undoing a few things for me because the recording stopped. So I'm just going to add a new layer. Again, I'm going to put it back in here. I'm going to call it projector light. So I have to watch the recording because it keeps stopping, which is causing me some issues. So again, I'm going to just very, very quickly repeat this. The projector light is in between projector and screen. I'm just going to draw this really, really quickly. Like so. And instead of filling it with white light, I'm going to fill it with a gradient. Now, so with the gradient, what I get to do is I get to choose the exact tones of light as opposed to just filling it with a bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in here. So every one of these represents a kind of a color bar. So I'll just show you how they work. Just click in. You'll get the idea after a few seconds. So with this first one, if I click on color, I can either pick a color from the color palette, or I can color spot one from here. So I'm going to choose that one. You'll see it automatically goes in here. Click OK. I'm going to click on the second one. Click on color, and I'm going to choose the kind of yellowy, orangey white on the car. Okay, click on the third one. I'm going to choose that orangey piece right there. And you'll see they're all, as soon as I click on the image, they go in. So I'm going to click on the next one. Click on color, and I'm going to go, I might just like to go with the dark of his jeans because it is projecting kind of black in the center. I'm going to click on the next one, go to white. I'm going to get the orange right under his foot. the red rather. I'm going to click on the next one, and I'm going to take the white of the car, or the silver of the car, and then the next one I'm going to take, let's say, the yellow light bulb, and I go okay. So I have a range of colors there, and I want to make it look like they're being projected by the light, so I just click OK, and to apply the gradient I drag it across my selection. Now it doesn't look great at the moment, but if I step down the opacity on it, you can see it kind of matches the colors that are actually going on the screen. So what I want to do is, it probably should be somewhere down around here, barely visible, but I can get a better effect if I leave it a bit more opaque just for the moment. And I just go select and deselect. If I go up to filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur, it's defaulting to what I did the last time. I can drag up the Gaussian blur until the actual layer begins to blur imperceptibly. So I can see this color there, but I can't really make out the gradient. Okay, and I click OK. Now I can bring the opacity on it down, and it's a bit more glowy and realistic. Okay. So what's the other thing we can do? I'm going to turn the light off for a second. I'm going to look at the image. Now, unfortunately, what I was talking about doing, I actually did in the recording after I realized it had stopped. So I can't undo it because it moved on. But this image here had a very, very, very sharp edge on it. And what I did was, I chose the rectangular marquee tool, and I put a feather of 4 onto it. Now I'm going to do this and then quickly undo it. And what I did was, I selected the edge like so. What I was looking to do was basically select the outer piece. So I just dragged around it, and I went select and the inverse, and I pressed delete. And it gave me, it gave me a kind of a soft feather edge. Hang on, select, inverse, delete. And it gave me a kind of a soft feather edge. Now it's hard to appreciate here because the one I was showing you, I had actually done when the recording stopped. So it's a bit of a pain. Select, deselect. Okay. Now, I'll turn the projector light back on. So it kind of looks nice at the moment. I have my cityscape outside. I've turned my windows into glass. And it's looking okay. Now the room is still sparse. But what I'll probably do is work on the lighting. So I'll tell you what I might do. I might pause this because it's the recorder is randomly stopping every couple of minutes. And I end up having to go back and redo some of it and try and trace my steps back to where it was when it stopped recording, and it's doing it for no apparent reason. So I think this one is okay. I'm going to stop this here. I'm going to post this as being part 1, and then I'm going to post another one as being part 2. Okay, so I'll see you back here in seconds.